Gator, I'm going to quote one of the legends in our town who once said the following. There are wins, and then there are wins. That legend being George Blaha. And while Blaha was never the play-by-play voice of the Detroit Red Wings, I'm applying it to their win last night. And forgive us if we overreact. And I don't even really care if we're overreacting. I thought that was a big moment in the season to be down 1-0 late and have the captain come through with a goal in the third period. Have the Red Wings shut down one of the best power plays in the NHL. One of the most high-flying, high-scoring teams in the NHL. Hold them to 1 goal to go to overtime. And then have the captain with a beautiful feed to another legend that they have repurposed here in Detroit, and he gets the game winner. A gently used Patrick Kane pops it in net, and the Red Wings get a 2-1 win over one of the best teams in the NHL. Boom, shakalaka, LGRW.
That was a great win. That was a great win all around. I mean, Alex Lyon played amazing in net, stopped a million chances. It felt like there were a million chances, even though when you look at the actual shot totals, they weren't that bad, but they were quality chances. He just kept turning away, and the Red Wings just keep biding their time. Missed an opportunity here, missed an opportunity. Okay, just bide the time, and then they tied it up, forced the overtime, get the W on a great play. Dylan Larkin draws a couple of the Avalanche players and just flips it behind his back, and there's Patrick Kane, and boom! Or as you said, boom shakalaka.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really nice win, exercising the demons of 7 years since the last time they beat Colorado. It's been 10 games. It's a very important extra point that they get, so they get 2 points for the win. They now have 66, which puts them 1 point ahead of Tampa. So now the Red Wings are in wild card 1 spot, not wild card 2. Now they're in wild card 1, and they sit 6 points behind Toronto in the division. But they are playing really, really solid and sound hockey, and it's fun to watch. And the crowd last night was appropriately jazzed.
It's funny. After the game, Dylan Larkin called it the Kaner effect. That
Kaner and Larks.
They got they get full houses for games now. They look up into the upper bowl and see a butt in every seat. And it's interesting in the timing. Yesterday we brought up something that wasn't outrageous. I was just a little surprised. And that is the ESPN list where they ask people in the league. They ask 10 players and 10 coaches and GMs and executives, so 20 total. But 10 players and 10 people that are either on the bench in the front office to rank all the centers in the league. And I wouldn't put Dylan Larkin in the top 10, but what I've come to discover is when you see a list like this, the names at the top 1, 2, 3, 4 are very similar, but you start getting into the back half of that list, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you'll see a great variation. I think it was a total of 24 players got votes. Dylan Larkin didn't get 1. Nobody thought of him as one of the top 10 centers in the league. And again, do I think that's outrageous? No, but when you have that many opinions, I was just a little surprised that Larkin didn't get anybody's mention, that somebody didn't say, you know what, a guy who's really tough to play against or whatever. And Larkin went out last night and had the goal and really had, I'm not going to say he had both goals, but he did the heavy lifting on the overtime goal, this first slam dunk for Kaner. And after the game, Derek Lalonde said of him, he said, Dylan's game, he feels like he doesn't have to do it all himself, and he doesn't have to be great offensively. It doesn't have to be a great offensive game for them to win. And when at some point you couldn't hear the questions in the post-game news conference, when I was watching the video this morning, but Lalonde said, a question came up about where he ranks in the pantheon of players in the league. And I don't know if it had anything to do with the ESPN list, but Lalonde said he feels like that to us. He feels to them, he feels like their superstar. And, last night he just had a really kind of an affirmation game that, yeah, he can be that guy when it matters most.
Yeah, he can. And he's he's a solid player in the league. Is he a star in the league? Probably I wouldn't call him a star, but I think he's a solid player, and I understand why he wasn't listed among the top 10 centers. But it doesn't really matter. I think Lalone said it perfectly. For this team, he's really good for this team. He's the captain of this team. He does more than just, show up on the score sheet. This guy's all over the place and making an impact defensively as well and inspiring the team. And, that play in overtime is all you need to know. It's because when you get to overtime, it's all about being able to get the odd man attack. And when you draw two guys to you in a 3-on-3 situation, someone's open. And that's exactly what happened. He was able to just sling it behind, and there was Kaner to bury it. Patrick Kane has been so good for this team.
Yep.
Such a good addition. They're now starting to learn how to win with him rather than just watch this guy. It almost felt like, this may not be fair to say, but it almost felt like the team was just in awe of him being on the ice because he was so skilled at passing the puck and he's got these great dangle moves and all that they weren't remembering, we got to play hockey with him. And they struggled to win games early with him, and now they're starting to put it together. Remember, he was out of the lineup for a little bit with a lower body injury. Now he's back, and he looks great. He just looks great. DeBrincat, Kane, Larkin, Comfer, and I like when Robbie Fabry's in the lineup because he seems like when he's healthy, he's a plus player. And Veleno has brought his game up. Rasmussen's brought his game up. There are others, and Perron. And it's just looking at the forwards. Lucas Raymond's had a great year. It's a deep team without being all this tremendous high-end talent. It's a little bit like the Lions, except the Lions have more star power than the Red Wings do. But it seems like the bottom players on the Red Wings are higher than bottom players in other teams. Like they've got a lot of guys that are kind of in the middle of not mediocrity, but just being above that.
Well, last night with Kaner's goal, that gave him 10 goals on the year, which meant 11 of the 12 forwards who dressed last night, now have double-digit goals. And so I don't know if there's a better example of it being a deep team. He also mix in Jake Wallman with his 11 goals. They have 12 players last night that suited up that have double-digit goals. So, yeah, playoff feel. Probably a game that instilled some faith, an affirmation game that this is a playoff quality team. They still have work to be done, but when you look at the schedule, just for fun, I stared at the standings today. I just brought it. All right, let me just let this wash over me because they're closing in on Toronto for the third spot in the division, and Tampa lost, New Jersey lost, the Islanders lost. This team is reinvigorating the hockey crowd. Now, I realize there's those hardcores of you that have been along for the ride the past 7 years when they haven't been a playoff team, but Detroit is it's a bit of a hockey town that's been dormant of late in terms of just the masses. They can pull us all back in. It's right there for the taking. And it was an inspired effort last night. And we'll talk about what's next, which includes the trade deadline 2 weeks from today. They've got me rethinking something. And we will get to that coming up today at 10:18. Plus your phone calls and feedback. Wings fans, the floor is yours. Had to like what you saw last night. What is the ceiling for this group? And does Steve Yzerman get aggressive?